there's certain things that are black and white. I get that, and some things are just gray. We're just like, you know what? We're all human. We all want our children to be around ceremonies. We all want children to be to identify who we are, you know, and to be proud of who we are. But that doesn't mean that I have to step on someone's cultural beliefs, just so I can feel better about
Mhm.
myself. You know, we're human.
Yeah. The other main difference is though, in the way in which we practice ceremonially.
Mm.
Like if you're Christian or Catholic, you're gonna go to the church, and you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
different ceremonies depending on your faction.
uh-huh.
That in your church you do different things,
Yeah.
right? And then depending on where you are in the indigenous culture,
Mm.
you're gonna have different ceremonies. A lot of people from southern tribes, they take part in temescals,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you're not necessarily doing temescals up north.
Uh,
I mean, some people have adopted it
uh,
because it is very healthy for you,
yeah.
and it is like, I like it. I finally did
Uh,
one, and it was
okay,
nice.
okay.
Yeah,
As well as your Temascal.
I did a
Oh,
temescal,
okay, okay.
and then the Plains natives, you guys do peyote ceremonies,
Uh,
right? And so,
yeah, yeah. So it all depends on those who are listening. Going back to the hard line, right? So there's traditional ceremonies where like you're traditional, meaning like behind the scenes, inner circle, generational lineage. You know, like you don't talk about things like that. It's straight up traditional ceremonies, you know. And then there's things that you could talk about, right? So it's there's different layers and different levels, right? So if you were to talk to these old school elders who don't know how to read or write and what have you, they don't know the phone or what have you, then they're not going to release this information
mhm.
to you because it's old school traditional medicine, right? And then you could talk about other stuff, you know, about coming together with humanity and unity and cultural, our similarities. So it depends on where the conversation's at and with who. So,
Right.
so that there, that's the wiggle. That's the middle ground, you know. So when you're talking about like the hard lines, there is a hard line in that regard, but that's very inner circle, very like generational secrets, you know.
Mm.
So
Okay. Yeah, I definitely
yeah,
understand.
yeah,
As far as how deep the
yeah,
conversation
yes, yeah,
goes,
yeah, yeah,
and so I surrounding that conversation,
yeah,
I'm more so specifically because we're in context with the Native American
yeah,
church. We
exactly.
talked about the Catholic side.
Uh,
I wanted to get into the native side, and how that works as far as being able to practice these
okay.
ceremonies.
Uh,
And
so if you break it down, there's a bit, there's a lot of education that's going on right now because in myself, if you not only study history but study there's a big, pretty much everybody north of Mexico City, you know, whether they're Otomi, whether you're Yaqui, Mayo, Cora, Huichol, Tujaramara, um, Loramuri, you know, all these different Yaquis, one way or another, we utilized, and peyote was part of our holy sacrament, right? So there's so if you put that into context, there's like a whole wave, right? And then especially like in South Texas right now with the Cahuitecos and the Panapachi and what have you. So so now the utis the in the late 1800s, early 1900s, through the legalization of Corner Parker and the Native American Church, how it went up north to Oklahoma. Okay, so you could get into historical dates and this and that and vice versa, and but the moral of the story for me, from my point of view, is that this peyote found its way, this holy medicine found its way up north to be utilized to spread unity through intertribal connections,
mhm.
right? So if you were to backtrack and then be the fly in the wall or what have you, going back 130, 140 years ago, when this medicine, even prior to Corner Parker, when this medicine went to a native community, I'm pretty sure, whether it's CBQ, Arizona, or White River, or wherever it might be, somewhere there in Oklahoma, where this medicine, this peyote, came to a community, and he had all these elders around around the circle, and they're contemplating, and they're like kind of like figuring out, like, well, this is really good medicine. This is a shimmering heart medicine. This is medicine that brings us together. How are we going to utilize this medicine, but still honoring our native traditions, our
Mm-hmm.
traditional native traditions? So, like, how are we going to use this medicine? So from there, every tribe, especially in Oklahoma, when they got after the Indian territories and they all went back to the reservations and what have you, they all went back and they brought this peyote with them to other communities. So from there, it kind of got branched out. So you might have like a Pawnee, Ponca, the Nez Perce. You might have the Arapaho, the Lakota, the Nakota. You might have different variations of how to use this medicine, but it all comes back to elders coming together and saying, "Wait a minute, we still have our traditional ceremonies."
Mm-hmm.
So it might be, for example, like a Quanah Parker's fireplace, you know, which my uncle has that fireplace. You don't put nothing in the fire. You don't even put smokes in the fire. The only thing that goes in the fire is cedar. All the smokes in the morning, that goes outside. You don't feed the fire. You don't feed the fire food. You don't feed the fire chocolate. You don't feed the fire nothing, right? But you might go to other communities, right? Like my compadre Jose Luis, where their ceremonial and their traditional practices is that they have cremations when people pass away. Where when they pass away, they put their whole body and they have a big fire and they cremate the whole body.
Mm.
And then when people come together around the circle, they might get your penalty blanket, your necklace, your eagle feather, and you put that in the fire, right? Along with that person. That person's going to go in the spirit world in the fire. So they put everything in the fire, even their own relatives,
That's amazing.
right? So when you come to a peyote ceremony and say, "Oh, you can't put that in the fire," but you're on their native territory. So in their native territory and their native beliefs, everything goes in the fire. Even we go in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
So how cannot we put this tobacco in the fire? So it depends the variations of where you're at, how medicine peyote came in their community, and how the elders intertwined it.
Mm.
That's where it varies.
And you have to be a part of the church to be able to legally do this in America, right? That's how that
But
works.
yeah, exactly. So like I'm a legal peyote practitioner. So people could come to ceremonies, and that's where like the legalization right now where it comes into play, because you might have
You have to be registered to a tribe to be able to,
well it
or
it,
how
it,
does you
it,
get?
it it depends, because there's the Native American church in general, right? And I understand and I totally agree in the regarding of the legalization, because it should be legal. It should have legal ties to it,
Mm-hmm.
where everything, it should be, even though unfortunately we all of us don't like the government, right? But in that sense is that the guard takers,
We're protected.
protected. It should be protected.